Okay, I was hoping you had some, but so being that you have teenagers, let's backtrack to, or if we can, what was the biggest difference between a toddler and a teenager now that's changed so much with you?
I want to say that the biggest difference between a toddler and my teens would be the fact that when they were toddlers and stuff, they was all over me and wanting to be around me and stuff. And not that they don't want to be around me now.
Right.
It's just they was more clingy and loving and was like, mommy, mommy, mommy. And now they're like doing their own little thing. Not even caring about, I mean, they care about me and stuff, but they would rather be in their rooms or hanging out with their buddies and stuff versus hanging out with me and Josh.
So was there like a teenage rebellion going on, like that time frame right now? Mom and dad that cool, or y'all still have like that a good relationship, I guess?
We still have a good relationship. Like, I think they all went through a spell where they was like had a mouth on them or not wanting to do something or having an attitude, and that's all three of them. That was with our oldest one and with our middle one and with our youngest one.
Yeah.
And our youngest one, you know, he's 14, so he's still going through the whole attitude kind of thing. Not wanting to listen, just being more hard-headed. Whereas the middle one, the 17-year-old, he's just fine, I'll do it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I think mine are kind of like that, but in toddler range. Leanne, she's at terrible threes. So she's like a little diva. She's a boss. And she definitely picks up after everything I say.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I mom her, she'll turn around and mom me in some type of way. Or her toys. I don't know if you've seen that video of her like momming her little baby.
I did see that video.
Mean
little self.
And Cooper is definitely in a rebellion mode. Like, doesn't want to listen. Nothing bothers him, whether it's timeout, spanking, whatever. Nothing. It's pointless sometimes.
I mean, with toddlers or whatever, it is a little tough just because, you know, sometimes you don't want to be like super hard on them because they're still babies. But in the back of your mind, you're also like, if I'm not tough on them, then they're going to be spoiled little kids. And for instance, JT, the youngest one, he was spoiled very, very bad. Like I could get onto him and then Josh would be like, come here, I know mommy's such a meanie. And I'm like, stop doing that.
Jake does the same thing with Cooper. And that a man thing we need to know.
And then with Sarai and Trey, I felt like we was a little bit tougher. Not as tough on Sarai as we was with Trey because she wasn't here all the time. So we didn't want to get onto her like a lot. I mean, we got onto her when she did stuff wrong. It was just not like we would the other two because the other two was always here. We was kind of correcting her, you know, this is what we do here. We don't do that here. And then like Trey, here's an example. Like Trey, you've seen Trey. They're both of our kids all of our kids are very respectful, like all three of them.
Yeah.
Everything. But you can tell which one got away with more when they was younger. Because JT, we're having to, it's harder now for us with JT because he's used to being the baby and being babied and getting away with things, where now we're just like having to correct him at an older age.
Yeah, yeah.
If that makes sense.
I can see that, yeah.
So it's tough. And I know that you want to baby your kids or whatever, but at the same time, I think the tougher that you are on them, the better that they're going to be in the long run, and the easier it'll be once they hit their teens. Because if you baby them while they're babies, once they hit their teens, they still want to have that little bit of a baby thing. Mm-hmm. And then when you get hard on them, they're just like, what are you doing?
Where did that come from?
So yeah, I think being kind of a little more strict on them when they're younger would benefit them when they're older.
Yeah, definitely. This sounds terrible, but do you have like a child favorite?
A
Not
child,
that you don't love them equally, but is there like one child? It's like I don't know, a child favorite.
I don't really.
I do. I don't know why, but I do. I love them equally, but Leanne's my favorite. I don't know if it's like a girl thing, like Team Girl, or what.
I don't think I have like a favorite. Josh would say that I have a favorite, but I don't think that I have a favorite.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I had to sit back and think about it, no, I don't think I have a favorite.
Is there one that would do something with you over the other one? Like, I'd rather hang out with mom more or versus dad.
Trey is more likely to do something with me than JT is. Like, I could ask Trey to do something with me and he would do it, but he wouldn't be happy about it. Whereas JT will do something with Josh before he would with me.
Right, yeah.
It kind of breaks my heart because I don't want him to do that.
He's like, are you talking about me?
That's exactly what he's doing. He's over here. He's been in here like 3 times.
Nosy. But yeah, I'd say, I hate to say like it's a favorite child, but it's more like Leanne's more down to do something with me than Cooper. Cooper's like, I don't want to do that. I want to go outside and do this with daddy, you know?
Yeah.
And Leanne's like, yeah, let's go to town. So yeah, maybe, I don't know.
I feel like when they was younger or whatever, JT was more clung to me versus Josh.
Yeah.
So like both of them was more clung to me when they were littler, but now they're more interested in things that Josh wants to do. So that's really hard question.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So because I love them all equally, all 3 of them. Like even, you know, Trey and JT are mine by blood, and then Sarai is mine by marriage and everything. So she's my stepdaughter, but I consider her more as my daughter, and I wanted to be a whole lot more close to her than what I am now. But I really feel like when she was little, me and her did a lot of stuff together. Like we would go to the store and go shopping, and I'd be like, "Hey, Sarai, you want to go buy some clothes?" and do stuff like that. So, yeah.
That's good. It's so weird because like your kids are so much older and mine are like so much younger. And it's like such a different like thing going on there. That is different.
It is different.
But you do homeschool your kids.
I do homeschool my kids. I have been homeschooling them for, this is the 4th year, I believe.
Yeah.
So it was Trey's whole high school year because he's a senior this year. And JT is in the 8th grade.
Yeah.
Mom, you told me this a minute.
What, baby?
You told me.
No, I didn't.
Hello, baby.
Say hi and then bye. Unless you're gonna be quiet, okay? Oh, Lord. All right, you're gonna be quiet, okay? Watch. You see Rara? I got my little one with me now, those that are listening instead of seeing.
Yeah.
Little Leanne. She's the one I had to chase down outside. She was running away, wouldn't you? Mm-hmm.
Going.
Where was you going?
To Pops.
To Pops. Mm-hmm.
You're just gonna run down there all by yourself? She said, yes, I would.
With the dogs. The dogs were I was like, that's not good. So she had her little protectors with her. But no. So what made you want to homeschool?
What made me want to homeschool was the fact that, okay, so me and Josh had been talking about it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about homeschooling JT because we felt like he wasn't getting everything that he needed there because he needed extra help. He was in special education for reading because of his comprehension. He needed reading comprehension and everything. And like the first few years of school, he had to do speech and stuff.
Yeah.
So, when he finally got put into the special education program so that he could do the reading and reading comprehension, he was being pulled out of his math class, which put him behind in math while being helped in reading. And I felt like he was being pushed through school instead of just actually learning things.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, they was in and out of school, which was something that he really didn't need. He didn't need to be pushed further behind because they wasn't in school.
Yeah.
So we pulled him out. I asked Trey if he wanted to be pulled out because we was going to let him stay at school, but he was like, I don't care. So I was like, we can just do both of them. It'd be easier. So,
yeah.
Which it has been easier in the long run, I think, because now Trey, he's been able to work and everything. So he goes to work about 11 o'clock every day or when the schedule and stuff. So he gets up at like 8:30, does his schoolwork, and then goes to work.
That makes sense because I was homeschooled the whole time. Like I never went to an actual school. So I was homeschooled my whole life. So I don't have any like school experience. So since Cooper is in first grade, it's like a whole new rodeo for me. Like, what? This, that, all day? Because like when we did, it was like from 8 to 11 or something like that. And when we did homeschool.
Yeah, because I mean, if you think about it, going to school from 8 to 3, that's a long time. When you can do everything that you need between 8 and 12.
Yeah, you can do it all, like focus on one thing.
So I think that it's the one thing I went to public school the whole time. So I was kind of on the fence about it. Josh, he went to public school through 6th grade, and then his junior high and high school, he was homeschooled.
Oh, okay.
He was worried more about their social interactions or whatever, but we let them play like soccer and stuff like that, and Trey works, so I think it's all gonna be okay. And then they also play games online, so they talk to their friends that way too. So
yeah, I mean they're getting out and they're doing things. Ours, we didn't have like sports and stuff, but we did sports outside of that, like horses and bird dog and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
kind of another story for another podcast, but at least I wasn't like sheltered in a home. I was sheltered, but not sheltered. That made sense. Like,
it does
got out and did things. So that's good. Hey. But I would love to homeschool mine if I could ever get the opportunity to. I would love to do that.
What kind of opportunity do you need to work from home?
Yes, a nice remote job.
I will have to admit, it is tough homeschooling and working at the same time when you're not working from home.
Yeah.
Because up until about a year and a half ago, that's what we did, was they homeschooled while we was at work or whatever, but we was having to come home and do it all over again, just like we was when they was in school. So
right, yeah, still having to study and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, if that ever comes to it, I'll have a good expert to help me.
Yes,
right, Robin, you homeschool them, okay? Yours will be grown by then.
Mine would be grown by then.
But I think they're okay.
Huh?
I think they're okay right now, but more towards high school, kind of iffy, really iffy.
I'm gonna tell you something. I actually wish, since we are homeschooling now, that we homeschooled from the beginning to now.
Yeah.
Just because they taught things a little differently in school or whatever, because they was doing like the Common Core and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't have like the books now or whatever that teaches the Common Core. I learned the books that we have are exactly how I learned when I was in school.
Yeah.
So
Go. Watch the thing.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay.
Ew. Let's get into how parenting. Well, first I want to make a disclaimer before we go into some comments that we got. That I think no matter how your parenting skills are, there's no parenting skill that's better than the other. It just depends on your kid. And yeah, you're making this difficult, honey. Here, don't hit a button. Well, my thing is, like what we say as an experience, don't take anything offensive what we do versus what somebody else does. There's no right or wrong as long as your baby's being loved and taken care of. Just because we say something, that don't mean it's wrong advice or that we're telling you to do it. But if you want to try it, but don't hate on it, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I was trying to word that really short, but I got really stretched out.
That's okay.
So we're coming in here with love advice, like stuff that's maybe happened to us. Just don't take it the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? If anybody listening and stuff like that.
Everybody does things differently. I mean, I've seen all kind of parenting styles.
Yeah, like just because I don't agree with one style doesn't mean I'm going to hate on that person because that's what they believe in.
And
or
it
what they
works
do.
for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's just whatever they do, how they're raised. I don't care.
Yeah.
I do this with mine. It may not work with yours, but this is what I do, and sometimes it don't even work. Let's go ahead and touch base on the comments that we got because I think she said quite a bit that might be.
She did. So I wrote down all the questions, so I guess we can just go through all of them, and a couple of them we've already kind of touched on. So
Yeah.
Like the first one that was asked was what made the decision to homeschool, which I,
Okay, yeah.
I answered that. And that was basically because I felt like I feel like he was getting held back, or just pushed through. I did not want him to be pushed through and still not know what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I can give just a good education, if not better, in my opinion.
Right, yeah.
So, and I can sit down with him if he has questions and stuff. I can actually focus just more on him, whereas in schools or whatever, kind of hard to focus just on one child.
Yeah, and you know your child, so.
Yes. And then the question after that was for you, and you kind of answered it already. So, do you homeschool? Which you don't.
I wish.
And have you thought about homeschooling? Which you have.
Yes, like that's a big push to do just because I don't agree with all the school teachings. And I do want to put in Bible study as part of school curriculum. I believe that's like something, that's my belief, but I wish school really did that, but that's kind of whatever. So I really want to teach them my kind of ways of that.
Yeah.
And I think I would be okay doing it. I mean, my mama taught me everything, and hey, they got a teacher's book for a reason, don't they?
It's correct.
So yeah, I would love to homeschool one day.
And I think that you'll be able to do that.
I think so too. Prayers, many prayers.
many prayers. I think you'll be able to do it before your kids hit high school or middle school.
I hope so. If anything like really happened, I would make it happen by then for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. So next question is, what chores do you give your kids, and what age did they start? Do you give your kids chores?
Oh, this is kind of a hard one. Yes and no. I mean, I got a 3-year-old. There's only so much I can tell her what to do to get her to do it. Yeah, was she cleaning her room most of the time? Yeah, she cleaned it at midnight last night. Why? I don't know. But anyway, she got it. I don't know. Go girl. Cooper, yes, like he doesn't have everyday set chores like I did growing up. That's a story there. But we had a checklist every day. So there's certain things that he needs to do every day, and that involves like taking care of the dogs outside too. like taking care of some of the animals, picking up the room. They share a room right now, so he does pick up a lot more than Leanne does. Or if there's any toys left out, pick them up or clean this, clean that, but nothing like major right now. There's not a list. There's not a set list of chores.
Well, yours are like little though, so that those are fair, I think. Because like when mine was your kids' ages, we did like the same thing. Make sure your room's picked up, and if we ask you to, maybe go feed the dogs or something. Which when our kids was little, we only had like one dog. Now we got like 5. So.
Yeah. And I think it kind of depends on the maturity of your kid. Like some 6-year-old kids are doing way more than others or less. And Cooper's just kind of one of those, he can only do so much.
Yes, I totally get that. Like now my kids, since Trey works, we kind of cut back on some of his chores because before he started working, he would wash and dry and fold the clothes and take them to the rooms they're supposed to go to. And then he would feed the dogs and then like sweep the floors. I had my own little maid.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, it teaches them valuable lessons.
Yes, and they got to keep their rooms cleaned and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Trey, he mows the yard sometimes too, and he's been doing that since he was like 13.
Yeah.
And then so JT, he's mowed the yard a couple times. He's 14 now. So since he was like 13, we started, 13 and 14 around that age. But he used to do like the dishes and then get the clothes out of the bathroom after everybody got done getting showers and stuff, take them to the laundry room, keep his room clean, and that was about it. Now, since Trey's working, JT gets the clothes out of the bathroom still. He still has to keep his room clean just like Trey does. And then he does the laundry, like washes, folds, washes, dries, and folds and puts them in the rooms. And then I'm the one that does the dishes. And the reason that I do the dishes is because I don't like the way neither one of them do it, and I don't have a dishwasher anymore, so I want my dishes clean.
Well, that's good though. I mean, they've got to learn all that, and especially putting up clothes. That's a big thing. Now, I've gotten Cooper to put up his clothes, like, because I've got like an organizer, pants, shorts, underwear, socks, like one of those stackable ones. And that seems to work really good for him, like school clothes. So I can say he does put up his clothes when I'm got him there focused on that. Yeah. It's hard to keep him focused.
You got anything else on the chores?
Not really. Not on my end. Not yet. Eventually, we'll graduate up.
Yes, we will. We will. I guess like helping with the animals too now or whatever. I don't let them help with the chickens yet, just because that rooster's mean. Speaking of which, we've got nine chicks, baby ones, fresh ones.
Oh, so sweet.
That hatched that we had, in our incubator. Anyway, all right. The next one is: are you a strict parent?
Well, again, I've got toddlers, and I think I've mentally told myself I was going to be a certain amount of strict before I had kids. And I think we kind of touched a little bit of that when we was in the last episode.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say yes and no right now just because they're little. I mean, I can only be so strict right now. They're not going out anywhere. I mean, they can't. They're babies.
Right.
There is some phone time depending on what we're doing. Do they have YouTube accounts? No. Do they have their own phones? No, nothing like that. They have a TV, and it is on a Fire Stick, so I monitor it because I don't want them looking up anything on YouTube. That's weird. Because I have to get on Cooper because he'll just talk to it because it's one of those you talk to. And I'm like, that's dangerous. So I would say yes and no. Maybe when I get older, things change. What about you?
I don't feel like I'm a super strict parent. That's just me though. But like, I have Life 360 on my phones.
Mm-hmm.
Phones for all of our kids. JT doesn't really go anywhere, but it kind of helps for when we do leave them home. Just in case. I mean, nothing crazy's happened, but you never know.
Yeah.
But we didn't start letting our kids stay home by themselves until Trey was 13. or whatever, and we wouldn't even go too far. You know, it was like maybe 30 minutes to an hour. Once Trey got his license and stuff, well, once Soraya was living with us or whatever, and she had her license, we would let them stay a little longer because somebody was here with a license and a car, and in case something happened. So that's why we wouldn't let them stay long without a licensed driver. Does that make sense?
But y'all had like cameras in your house though.
Yes, which we recently got those like just a few years ago. So
yeah, you can kind of like buzz in there and like check.
Yep, and it sits in our living room, so it's not like our camera is in our kids' room and we're all
Right.
like being super nosy. It's just to make sure this house is okay, because we've also got cameras around our house. So we can just peek in and be like, okay, the house is okay, everything's good, and then we can
burn down.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So, and then okay, so with Soraya or whatever, when she was here, like she didn't really go anywhere because she didn't like, she would go to work. That was about it. So we would just say, hey, just go to work and then come home. If you want to go hang out with your friends, because most of her friends lived where her mom is and everything. So she would go out there, but we would just be like, hey, you need to be home by a certain time. She was always at home when she was supposed to be. And then, I think the curfew during the week was like 10:30. And then on the weekend, she could stay out a little later. But if she was going to stay out later than what she was supposed to be out, she needed to call and say, hey, I lost track of time, blah, blah, blah. I'm on my way. So but she was never late. She always came home when she was supposed to be. Trey is kind of the same way, but he doesn't go anywhere. He goes to work and comes home, and then every once in a while he'll go to like a buddy's house, but always ends up bringing his buddies back over here because that's where they'd rather hang out.
Yeah.
So I don't really think that I'm much of a strict parent, because I mean, I don't like them to be cussing or anything like that. I know that they do. I know that they do it. I'm not stupid. Wasn't
not like at you.
But like, they know, like when they're on their video games and stuff like that and they get loud and I hear them cussing, I get onto them or whatever. Like, hey, if you do this again, you're not going to be playing the rest of the night, and I don't ever hear it again.
Right.
So, but I know that, you know, stuff like that happens. So, yep, I don't think I'm a strict parent. I think I'm pretty cool mom. Pretty cool mom.
Well, your kids haven't put you in a position to be like super strict though. Like, they haven't been like crazy or anything. So they've been really respectful and chill. Like, they know how to just hang out at home.
Yes.
And do what they need to.
Right.
That's a good thing though.
Yeah.
I don't know what men are gonna do. It's so scary.
You know, when mine were little or whatever, with JT, you know, in the last episode, I was like, he was super, super wild, and we was wondering what was going to happen with him. And he is not that way no more. He's a little more calm. And I think that he's going to end up being, I don't think he's going to freak us out to where we'll have to be super strict on him.
Yeah.
So, and Trey, I believe he's the same way. I mean, I think that the way that we raised our kids and letting them know, hey, you're loved. This is what you can and cannot do. You know, as long as you're living under my house, this is how it's going to be. Under my house, you know, under my roof.
Roof.
So, but yes, I don't think either one of us are really strict. And I mean, of course, it's kind of hard for you to be because they're little.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Was that all of her questions?
Nope. There's 3 or 4 more.
Let me, there's one more thing about the homeschool thing.
Okay.
That was a lot of things in one thing. Anyway, I don't like them riding the bus right now. That drives me crazy because, well, especially as toddlers, they're riding with high school kids. Of course, they're separated. High school's in the back. Da-da-da. There's always something going on every day. Well, this kid was doing this. I'm like, it's hard to tell them between right and wrong. I'm like, well, they're older. Yeah, maybe they should be doing that, but that's none of my business. So a bus ride's another like iffy thing for me. I'm just having to deal with it.
You may tell you something crazy about bus rides?
What?
My whole time that I was in school or whatever, I rode the school bus. Except like the last few years of school, which until I got my license, I rode to school with a friend, or then when I had a boyfriend, I would ride to school with him. And then when I got my license, I would drive. So I rode the school bus most of my school career and everything. But the weird thing is my kids never rode the school bus ever.
Yeah.
Mom took them to school and picked them up, or I did. So if I was at home or got off work early or something like that, I was the one to take them and pick them up. But majority of the time, my mother did it.
Well, that's good.
I have an awesome mama.
You do. She's the best.
She's
The
amazing.
best.
Did you say the best Nana?
The best Nana.
Everybody calls her Nana.
And
All
only
the
you
babies call her Nanas. It's about like all the babies call me Rah too, and that's all BJ's fault.
Yeah.
My brother.
It's easy to say that though.
It is.
Yeah.
It is, and that's why I'm called Rah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little, it is a little difficult for kids to say Robin.
Mm-hmm.
So they say Robin. Now, Trey's cousin, she would call me Roro. That was my nickname for her.
Well, the kids, nephew, niece, because Kate don't talk much, call me Cece.
Yeah.
I don't know how that come about, but Cece is my nickname for the kids.
Yep.
And sometimes Zoe calls me Cheesy. I hate that. I'm like, where does cheesy come from? Chelsie cheesy?
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I've got some that call me cornbread.
Yeah. That's funny.
Which that's my cousin's fault, and it's quite all right.
It's okay.
It is. She started calling me that when I was pregnant with Trey. I guess because I was super big, and she was like, "Oh, you look cornbread fed, whatever."
Cornbread.
I like some cornbread though. Okay. So the next question is, do your kids game? My answer to that is yes, very much so.
They are gamers.
Yes. Yes, they are. They are such gamers that she is just going to climb up in your lap and take her.
I know. She's like, let's take a nap. What are you doing?
But yes, mine are gamers, and I mean, that's what they like to do, which in their defense, that's what their dad likes to do too. So yeah, it just is what it is. And we try to monitor their screen time, but this is where they communicate with most of their friends.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives them like the social skills and stuff that they need, although I don't like some of the words that come out of their mouth.
Yeah, it's a live gamers.
I can hear Trey right now.
Well, mine, again, are too young, but they don't game. Cooper plays a few games, but he's can't really play the controls. So I'm not against gaming by no means. So, I mean, he wants to game more when he's older, whatever. But yeah, he'd have to watch the people and how they talk and all that stuff, basically.
Yeah. Like, I think before we moved in over here, whatever, was when the kids started like gaming even more, like on Xboxes and stuff like that. And like I've even got pictures where they're just, playing their little video games in their bedrooms and stuff. But we was a little more strict on them then because they was like Cooper's age and everything. Because I mean, we've been in this house for 10 years, so 4 to 7 years old is when they were introduced to video games, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I mean, when you got your parents sitting there playing Call of Duty on the screen, what else are you going to do?
Right. my parents grew up playing like Tetris on the screen and some kind of other little alien game, Mario,
Oh, I love
all the
Mario.
old games. I love the old games because we did get to play like the old Nintendos and stuff.
Yep. And now everybody in this house, including me, sometimes I don't do it a lot, but we play PC games like
Yeah.
WoW and Ark, and the kids play Fortnite and all these other games also. So some of these stuff they come up here talking about, I'm just like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
yep.
What covers that?
Huh?
I said, well, that covers that.
That covered that one. Do you make your kids eat healthy?
Well, yes and no, because I like to eat semi-healthy, somewhat healthy. Do they eat Lunchables? Yes. Is that healthy? Eh. Do they eat pizza every day? No. So I like to try to keep them healthy, and I try to keep them away from red dye as much as I can.
Yeah.
I can't keep them completely off of red dye, but I try to make good choices when I go to the, grocery store and I look at the ingredients. I try to do better with them. But being babies, I mean, I want to try to teach them how to eat healthy as they get older, if that helps. So, yeah.
Yeah, that does help. I try.
Yeah.
It's a hope for me though, because okay, so JT will eat his vegetables. Like if
Yeah.
he was to have salads or something for dinner, he'll eat it. I'm talking lettuce, cheese, just about anything like that. He's not a tomato fan, but Trey, he wouldn't eat a salad.
Yeah.
If I fix dinner like tonight, I didn't fix a whole lot tonight. Most of the time, like a meal like I would do tonight with like country fried chicken and macaroni, I would have country fried chicken, macaroni, mashed potatoes, and some kind of beans and corn or something like that.
Yeah.
And everybody in the house will eat it, but Trey will not. He'll only eat the mashed potatoes and the chicken.
See, that's like with them. They're either in the mood for something good or they're in the mood for ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
And they make it difficult because you make a nice meal. And like, I don't like that today. Well, you liked it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and I know this is horrible or what it's probably not even horrible. I say it is, but you probably won't think it is. But like there for a long time, JT, when I would fix something, he was like, "Do I like it? Yes, you do. You sure?"
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with
And
that.
he would eat it and he liked it. Now with Trey, he would not say that. He was just either he likes it or he don't.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
kind of fool him into eating it or trying something.
Yeah. Well, these two right here can look at something like, I don't like it. I'm like, well, you didn't even taste it. Just
Yep.
go by looks.
Yeah.
Well, you got to try it first before you tell me you ain't gonna eat it or you don't like it.
Yeah. Well, I think that we eat a little healthier now than we did before
Mommy.
because we're only allowed, Josh can only eat certain things, so it kind of helps with that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that I make them eat healthy foods. I just try to get them to eat healthy foods. And I always try to get them to get a good bit of water intake daily.
Yeah. At least we're educating them to better, I have to say, I probably didn't make better choices until I got older. Even though I was raised to eat healthy,
I'm the same way. My parents, they fixed a meal just about every night or whatever. And it's kind of the stuff that I eat now. It's just, it wasn't always like the healthiest, but we always had a meat, a potato, some kind of bean, corns, and bread. That's what we had every night, just about.
Yeah. Well,
you see how Mama and them cook, so
they cook really good. But food, like when I was little, I think was healthier than food is now.
Yes.
Ingredient wise. So I think it is important to educate them the best you can as they grow older. Try to steer away from this or that, but they're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. These last two questions or whatever, it's basically the questions kind of come across like she was asking about her kids and I guess what we may think, but I'm not sure. But we could like point it towards what we think our kids would be.
Okay.
What I think. So the two questions are, will my kids be good people? Will they stick up for themselves?
So you're talking about what would I teach my kid or what I'm aiming for my kid, basically targeting?
Sure.
I
guess you could answer it that way, and then you could also answer it on how you think your kids will be. Like, knowing what you know now about your kids, how do you think your kids would be? Like, do you think Cooper and Leanne would be good people? And do you think that they would stick up for themselves?
So the way I'm going to raise them, yes and yes. But it also depends on certain circumstances and situations on standing up for yourself, though. Like, are you going to stand up for yourself as in not speaking about it and walking away? You're going to stand up for yourself, like, fight it out? That's not always standing up for yourself. That's kind of goes two different ways. I hope they learn to stick up to themselves the best way they can that's respectful,
Yeah.
and Christian-like in a certain way.
Yeah.
And will they be good people? I pray to God that they are.
Mommy,
Because
I see you.
I'll make you cereal right after this, okay?
Mm.
I think a lot of prayers will they be good people? I mean, they're toddlers right now, and the world changing every day to try to push kids towards being on the bad side, I think. But I want to try to keep them on the best side I can, the whole time.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you.
Because by the time they get out the house and you teach them all you want to, they're still going to be who they're meant to be, whether it's the way you taught them or not. That's how I see it.
Exactly.
Because I was raised way different than what I do out here.
I totally understand, because I think, okay, so all of mine are either grown or teenagers. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got a 20-year-old, a 17-year-old, he'll be 18 in 2 months, and then a 14-year-old. Right now, I think they are great people. I think they are very respectful. And that's just what I've taught them and everything. When Sarai was living with us, we just told her how we do things here, and she went by that.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's all we wanted. Like, look, while you're here, just do as we say. Do, practice the things that we're teaching you or whatever. Even, you may not agree with it or whatever, but this is what we do in our home. And
right.
I'm thankful that we did it that way or whatever, because seeing the woman that she's become today or whatever, I love it. Like,
yeah,
she is amazing.
Yeah.
And she grows more and more daily, and I'm gonna do that with the boys too. I mean, Trey is like a super respectful person. I have people come up to me all the time that see him out in town and stuff, that from where he works, and they're like, you have like the best child. He is so respectful, stuff like that. And that's what I wanted. I think that is being good people.
Yeah, exactly.
And JT, he's the same way. I mean, just because our kids or your kids are acting different at home or whatever does not mean that they're going to go out in public and act the same way, because you can have wild kids at home. And then when people see them out in public and you're not around, they're like the sweetest, most respectful people ever.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how all of my kids are, all three of them.
Yeah.
And the sticking up for themselves, I know 2 of mine for sure will. The 2 oldest ones, They already stick up for themselves.
Mom.
Ray not only sticks up for himself, but he sticks up for his friends also. And it's not just like trying to get into a fight or anything like that. He'll just say, you know, there ain't no point in acting like that and blah, blah, blah. And I think he also knows when to keep his mouth shut and just roll on. And I think that's what we need to teach our kids, in my opinion. Just let them know all of the things that can happen and when you should just be quiet and let it be. And when you should speak up and let your feelings and the way that you think out.
Yeah, I've definitely had a learning process with that also, like as myself too. So
yeah,
everybody's gonna have do bad and wrong, and we have to learn from it, and hopefully we learn the right way. So
I absolutely agree.
That was a good question, though.
It was a little tough because I mean, as they're little, your kids' ages, it's kind of hard to tell whether they're going to be good people. All you can do is just hope and pray, and the people turn out to be the people that you are teaching them to become.
Now I can tell Cooper what that means.
Mama, not somebody do her test.
Okay, you can put it in there. She's begging for her cereal in a cup. But no, I actually think Cooper is going to be probably the one that tests everything he can. Like he's going to be one that's going to learn the hard way, from what I've gathered from him. Like, for instance, for an example, like if you were to tell him something was hot, he ain't gonna believe you until he actually burns himself. You know?
Yeah.
Like he's just one of those. He's going to learn the hard way till he actually figures it out. That's what I've gathered from him so far. Leanne, too young to tell. She seems to listen a little bit different than him, but it's a lot of time to tell.
It is. I mean, I think as kids, as little kids, though, they're going to do stuff like that.
Yes.
Just because they don't believe you.
They don't. Cooper definitely don't.
Let me see. Oh, that really was hot.
Yeah.
And like once they get, I would say maybe 8 to preteens or whatever.
Yeah.
I think that's when they kind of, they're listening to you, they're hearing what you're saying, they're following your instructions, but at the same time, they do not care.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my opinion. Whatever.
Yeah.
And then as they become teenagers or whatever, they actually see, oh, so my parents was telling me this or whatever for a reason.
Right, yeah.
So, and then they're learning from what they was taught when they was little too. So I think they just all soak it in.
They do. This little heifer is like hollering at me in the kitchen. Oh, Lord. That was a really good question. Shelby, I think that's her name, that was on the Podbean.
Yep.
The comment from. Just because Leanne is starting to get hungry, I think we should go ahead and. That was all of her questions, wasn't it?
That was everything. Unless there's more on there, but I haven't seen any notifications because I saw that in her email.
So for episode 4, I don't think we really have like a main topic yet, but if somebody would send us some ideas, questions, maybe how we were raised in general. My raising was kind of weird. If you met me now versus how I grew up, it's kind of funny and weird. So send us questions, or if you want to be on here, let us know. Who's bringing the cereal?
He said, "Dang it, Mom, I'm hungry."
Lord, here's going to be such a sound.
That's hilarious. Well, okie dokie. Well, I will let you get to
feeding my child. You can find us on Podbean, Spotify, YouTube, watch the videos, and hit the subscribe button.
Yep.
And then we will get back with y'all another episode.
We're also on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook too, so follow us there as well, because we be posting stuff sporadically on there too. It's not really as consistent as this, but we try.
We're trying to gain our followers.
So,
So,
but yeah, all right.
let me get this baby some cereal.
All right. Well, bye. Y'all have a good night.